It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon when Angela Price pulled into the small parking lot of a neighborhood grocery store on the south side of town. The sun hung lazily in the sky, casting long shadows across the cracked pavement. Angela, a tall black woman in her mid-30s with a confident stride and a no-nonsense look in her eyes, stepped out of her sedan, clutching her reusable shopping bag. Dressed casually in jeans and a navy blazer, she looked like any other working professional running errands after a long day. Inside the store, she methodically checked items off her handwritten list: milk, fresh vegetables, rice, and a few snacks for her niece's birthday that weekend. Her phone buzzed every few minutes with emails, but she ignored them, determined to enjoy at least this brief moment of normalcy. As she stepped out of the store 10 minutes later, groceries in hand, she noticed a police cruiser parked a few feet from her car. A young white officer leaned against the door, arms folded, eyes locked onto her. The moment she approached her vehicle, he straightened up and stepped in front of her. "Ma'am, I need to see your ID," he said curtly, one hand resting on the holster at his hip. Angela blinked, confused. "Is there a problem, officer?" "We got a report of a suspicious person matching your description," he said, his tone clipped and accusatory. "You were seen walking around the neighborhood. Mind telling me what you're doing here?" She raised an eyebrow, trying to keep calm. "I just came to buy groceries. That's my car. I work not far from here." "I'll need you to verify that," he said, taking a step closer. "Let's see your ID." Angela hesitated. The tone, the stance, the implication, it was clear this wasn't a routine check. Her heart began to pound, not out of guilt but frustration. She'd seen this before, had heard the stories. And now, here she was. "Officer," she said, her voice level, "I am a licensed attorney with the State Department of Justice. I have every right to be here, and I have not broken any laws." But the officer was unmoved. "I said, show me your ID. Now." When she reached for her wallet, he grabbed her wrist roughly, spinning her around and pressing her against her own car. Her groceries spilled to the pavement. A small crowd began to form, shoppers pausing mid-step, people taking out phones. Angela tried to stay composed, biting back tears of humiliation. "You're under arrest for resisting a lawful order," the officer declared, snapping handcuffs on her wrists. She stared straight ahead, biting her lip as a surge of rage and disbelief ran through her. "You have no idea what you've just done," she muttered. "Yeah," he sneered. "We'll let the station sort it out." Angela didn't say another word as he shoved her into the back of the cruiser. But she knew something he didn't. When they got to the precinct and ran her credentials, this smug little power trip was going to blow up in his face. And not just in front of his fellow officers, but the entire department. The precinct was unusually quiet when they arrived. Angela sat stiffly in the back of the cruiser, her hands still cuffed behind her. She stared out the window, her jaw clenched, her breath controlled. Years of courtroom experience had taught her not to show her anger too quickly. But now, sitting in the back of a police vehicle as a falsely accused citizen, despite her position, was beyond degrading. Officer Hayes, the young cop who arrested her, didn't say a word as he parked the cruiser and stepped out. He opened the door, still wearing that smug expression that barely masked his insecurity. "Let's go." Angela stepped out slowly, her wrists aching from the tight metal. As they walked through the back entrance of the precinct, she caught glimpses of other officers giving her brief, curious glances. Most assumed she was just another suspect. None of them recognized her. Not yet. They brought her into processing. The desk sergeant, a portly man with graying hair and reading glasses halfway down his nose, barely looked up as he gestured to the intake officer. "Name." Angela spoke calmly. "Angela Monique Price. State Attorney, DOJ Division of Civil Litigation." The typing stopped. The sergeant glanced up. "Sorry, what did you say?" "I'm a lawyer with the state," she repeated. "Department of Justice. Badge number 39821. Officer Hayes froze. "She's lying," he blurted. "She was loitering near a residential street. Gave me attitude. Resisted showing ID." Angela turned her head slowly toward him, eyes burning but voice ice cold. "I told you exactly who I was. You never even gave me the chance to take my wallet out." The sergeant held up his hand. All right, let's verify." The room tensed as he typed something into his terminal. After a few seconds, his eyes went wide. "Oh, hell," he whispered. He stood up. "Uncuff her. Now." The officer standing beside Angela fumbled with the keys, clearly shaken. Hayes stepped back, a mix of confusion and defensiveness washing over him. "You brought in Angela Price." The sergeant snapped. "You know who she is." She didn't identify herself properly, Hayes said, voice wavering. She didn't have to scream it, the sergeant snapped. You put hands on a state lawyer. One who litigates police misconduct. The room went still. Angela rubbed her wrists, slowly flexing her hands. I'm going to need the body cam footage preserved, she said evenly. And every officer who witnessed that arrest will be part of the report I file. Hayes stepped forward. It was a mistake, I thought. No, Officer Hayes, she interrupted, her voice sharp but composed. You assumed. You assumed because of how I looked, where I was, and how I spoke. You didn't do your job, you abused your badge. The lieutenant walked in just then, holding a folder and clearly annoyed. What's going on? The sergeant gestured quickly. We've got a situation. Angela turned toward the lieutenant. I was falsely arrested by your officer for doing nothing more than buying groceries. I identified myself clearly. He ignored that, used force, and humiliated me publicly. I expect a formal apology and full accountability. The lieutenant glanced from Angela to Hayes. Jesus Christ, Hayes. Angela looked around the room. I'll also be speaking with your chief, and likely the mayor's office. And you can be sure the DOJ will be reviewing this precinct's conduct records. The air in the room grew thick with dread. Hayes, now visibly pale, opened his mouth but couldn't speak. His career flashed before his eyes, disciplinary hearings, lawsuits, internal affairs investigations. All because he had profiled a black woman on a sunny afternoon. Angela gathered her belongings slowly. She looked at the sergeant. We're done here, for now. As she stepped out of the precinct, she dialed her office. Put me through to Director Phillips, she said. We have a serious situation developing in the 9th precinct. I'm going to need full backing. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot.